I changed my nationality to the United States citizen now. I think it's a matter of time, a matter of place, and a matter of your life, wherever it takes you. I'm really proud. I always say that I'm from Nepal and I am American with a purpose. So before starting my paper, I started a non-profit called UNESCO Club back in 2010. I really like the values of UNESCO and how they are working on education and science. So my country, Nepal, is full of cultural heritage, and the city that I'm from is rich in temples and a lot of Hindu mythology. I started the club with a passion to serve youth in disadvantaged background, people who cannot afford to go to universities, people who cannot afford to be in conferences like this, people who cannot afford to express themselves in different forums. When I started my journey, I met with a lot of people with a lot of purpose, and I found Darryl Nasser in Japan, who was doing exactly what I was trying to do. The collaboration went to more than 14 years now, and we have been successful delivering the goal that we started. Again, in my life, I strive for a better education, a better knowledge of myself, where I found a topic called bioethics. Why I love this topic bioethics is because I'm always a person with a purpose. I always think there should be a purpose in life. And when I studied bioethics, I started getting more interest in understanding our past, present, and future. So then I started doing a master's in bioethics and public health in AUSN. My roll number is 2014013. I'm the first batch at the university, and I spent 6 months in Arizona studying, doing research on bioethics. Right now, as a career-wise, I'm working as a clinic manager for a company called Royal Healthcare. We do pension and benefit exam for the veterans, especially veterans from Vietnam War and Gulf War, which is Middle East. So that job is also one of the purpose-driven jobs where I can serve, I can help those poor veterans who are challenged getting their benefits. So I see veterans every day, more than 60 veterans every day, 60 new people, 60 new veterans every day for 5 days, and every day I hear them, and then what I think is there is a gap between our education system where we are not introducing bioethics as a topic for them. It should be in the high school where you understand your nature, your environment, and yourself. You're actually the reason of your existence, why you are here, and what are the purpose of your life. As we all know, bioethics cover a lot of health aspects, and I think health should be a mission-driven sector rather than a money-driven sector, which we saw during the COVID and still now. So health, I would like to connect health with yourself or loving yourself, or the general topic health is wealth is basically you are loving yourself and living a healthier life. So in bioethics, health I would say is much more about discipline and how you can appreciate yourself as a human being. When I was studying my master's, I always thought bioethics and law should go parallel. So with that sense, I always tried seeing bioethics as a substitute for law. There's law in every country, and we all follow law, but sometimes we need to see some aspects with bioethics. Because sometimes law and bioethics can come face to face. And I think it always should be a parallel thing, or either or kind of thought. That's completely my thought. So, especially when you are growing up, I can put me as an example. I always thought to be successful no matter what. But when I grew up, I found out that there should be a way that you excel yourself in life, whereas you are giving something back to your community, or if you can't do it for a community, at least for your family. So that's why bioethics came to me in the right moment of my life, and then I was lucky enough to study more into the bioethical journey. I think all of us here have gone through a book called Bioethics is a Love of Life. If not, then I think I would suggest at least to go in first 10 pages in that book, where you'll find ethics is not just for you, it's for everybody, it's for everyone you love, it's for everything you get in your life. And we are fortunate enough that the author, the writer of that book is with us, Dr. Rimesh. So I would request everybody to just study that book. If you want to know more about bioethics and how it is a love of life. I have written here, love for life demands that ethical considerations are made up to prevent harm to individuals, particularly in medical practices and research. So after COVID, we started doing a lot of research. Even a normal person in a household started doing a lot of research on their health and their healthier aspect of their life. So what I found is we, during COVID, have a lot of homeopathic remedies we started using in our day-to-day life, which was actually a very benefit, or which was actually very beneficial, but nobody were using it. But since after COVID, we started adding some of those things in our lifestyle. For example, in my culture, we use a lot of turmeric. But after COVID, I see a lot of people in the States using turmeric or a supplement which is based on turmeric. So we have that medicine since our existence, but we haven't used it. And we need COVID to find out our own medicine. So that's one example. So one more thing. So I've written that bioethics signifies the love of life through its dedication to ethical decision making. Ethical decision making, I think, itself is a vast topic, and it's very vague on terms of that. It might be ethical to one person, might not to be another. Let's say it depends on religion or the area that you are. A lot of ethical thing depends on, for me, my ethical decisions are based on my religion. That might not be true for the next person. Why I'm saying this is because I was grown up in a Hindu culture where your day-to-day practice are based on the Hindu mythology or the Hindu practices, whatever it is, which was during COVID time, I realized a lot of things were created by our ancestors, which was true. Might not be true for other religion or other place, but it was true to me. So the ethical decision making or respect of autonomy is completely is person to person thing, and also understanding bioethical issues is another thing. There might be, for example, one country might think the way of death sentence, for example, might be ethical in one country, but might not be a good thing for another country. So the question is not right or wrong, but I think the question is about the decision that country, people of that country is making. So I think somewhere ethical decisions are also based on democracy and the will of people. At the end, whatever we talk about bioethics or whatever we talk about healthier life, it goes back to the love of life that you need to have for yourself in the future. Because at the end of the day, you need to be happy and you need to be loving yourself. Well, whether you are taking a ethical decision that is correct for yourself or it's different. For example, death sentence. A country might be happy when they announce death sentence to a prisoner, but another country might not be happy or might be upset for that. So the choosing, I would say, ethics is person to person thing, and bioethics is more comprehensive, and it also includes your environment and the society and wherever you are. So I would say, as I've said here in the paper, bioethics rooted in love for life provides a framework for individuals and societies to navigate the complex moral landscapes. The moral landscapes are the laws, the regulations, your religion, landscape of today's rapidly advancing life sciences. For example, the research now, I have seen a research where the latest research, I saw that in the news that people are, like, since COVID, people are using a lot of intermittent fasting way to lose weight. But recently there was a research saying it's not good for us. The heart attack is a high risk when you do that. So now, what's all we do? Should we practice whatever we are doing, intermittent fasting? Somebody say it's right, or somebody say it's the latest research shows it's not correct. I think choosing that decision is basically what you are ethically choosing yourself. Both of the decisions, for me, it's not wrong. If you want to choose it, that's your life, your love of life, you choose it. You don't want to choose it, that's again your life. You saw the research, you understand the research, now you want to go with that research. So that's what I'm trying to say here in this paper. And at the end, it's all about promoting the well-being and dignity of all beings. Promoting the well-being means promoting your own benefits, and dignity means without giving any problem to other lives around you, including environment and all the species that we have. That's it. Thank you. There are some references that I got from.
A reference specific name, but you. Thank you very much. You have some questions or comments? please come and speak this way, next to Rimesh. Remember to speak up.
You mentioned bioethics being more predominantly used in medical and health-related fields. So you're also saying that there is ethical decision-making that's involved in bioethics and so on. So is there a role where critical thinking plays? I mean, is there any place for critical thinking in making bioethical decisions? Like, for example, when you say there's a study published and I immediately Googled up, I wasn't aware. I'm doing intermittent fasting, so I wasn't aware until I just Googled up and I saw it's a research that is in a preliminary stage. It has not peer reviewed at the moment. So, when I read that, should I trust that or should I critically review?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So, on what basis at first you trusted intermittent fasting? That's the important thing. On what basis you started doing intermittent fasting?
Jumping on the bandwagon.
So that's the problem. So, if you have research, and then if you have that trust, then you can continue whatever you are doing right now, right? So if you don't trust that and you think you just hopped onto a bus where everybody was trying to go, then now you have a second opinion where you can go and understand and then see the research once it's done, and then you can make your own decision.
When you say love for life, is basically love for life means loving yourself, you wanting to live longer and so on.
Love for life doesn't mean only loving yourself. If you need to love yourself, you need to love anybody who is around you, and then you feel complete after that. So that's love of life.
So it's not starting from self and I don't
So
know.
what I have understood is love of life only comes when you started loving other people, and it's vice versa. And then everybody, that's how I think Youth Peace Ambassador was created. It was all
External to internal.
That's what I personally believe.
But it could also be the other way around. Where love,
Yeah, it can be.
when you
Obviously.
love yourself, you're able to give that love to
Yeah, that can be
life
another-
around you.
That can be another.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing about the IF.
Are there any other comments? So let's share a couple of interesting stories before Amber's presentation. So 14 years ago, our journeys went together, which is wonderful. And some of you I've met at different times in life. Some, no wonder, I only met you a few days ago here. The love of life is, as I write at the beginning of the book, it's why does the bacteria swim in its media? Why does the flower bloom? Why does the bird sing? Why does the image I use in the first paragraph of the book is an image from the first time I was in Cairo, driving in the street in Cairo, and I saw a dog run over by a car. But the dog's back two legs were run over. And the front two legs, it got up and it walked off the road, which is difficult for a four-legged animal, but it did. So this is, for me, one of the images of love of life. Is from my dog in Cairo. The love of life is also from another interesting Egyptian papyrus that I wrote about the love of life, that I only felt this emotion several years ago. The fig tree writing to its lover. It's a 2,500-year-old poem about the fig tree writing to the lover. The lover is the person who gives water, but also love. It's, of course, imagery that some of you, in fact, I went to mention, have you used the imagery you asked to Dia this morning in Malaysia. So these are all love of life. Rimesh, one of the various journeys we've been on, one was to drive in the pool across the mountains from Kathmandu to Lumpini, the birthplace of Lord Buddha. We visited your parents' home as well, and the bus got a flat tire in the middle of the road. It's a minivan, there's a lot of people on the bus. So, of course, I want to utilize every moment. So I said, let's go out and make a donut under the jungle trees on the side. So we did a donut game in the, while we're trying to get a replacement tire. And then I said to all our Nepalese friends, let's go for a walk in the jungle. And they said, no, there's the tigers. We can't go walking in the jungle. You remember my romantic image of how to die? How I prefer to die is not in a hospital bed or the hospice, but in the nature, by eaten by a tiger. I think it's a very romantic way to be eaten. But let's hope it doesn't happen for long, but wait and see. I'm trying to nurture replacements like deans and graduates and alumni who will continue the journey when my time is up, which could be now, could be any time. So all of you need to continue this work. We never know. So these meetings we did were lots of interesting stories. UNESCO had this power because the first verse of UN Charter, if you remember, it says, "We the peoples of the world." It doesn't say we the nations of the world. It says we the peoples of the world. In 1945, why does it say that? Because of 1945, most peoples were living in colonies. But the writers of the UN Charter said we the peoples of the world. Now you remember the Constitution of the United States is we the people. Okay? Many constitutions say that. But the UN Charter says we the peoples of the world on purpose. Because there are many peoples in the sovereign nations. Another story, Angelica, you asked when did I meet Angelica? I met her at a meeting we were involved in. One of my tasks as UNESCO Regional Advisor was responsibility for the Human Rights Commissions in Asia Pacific. And Human Rights Commissions have a very important function to be independent of governments, but to promote the declarations of human rights. And in fact, at that time, the Philippine Human Rights Commission was very strong. It's had a few challenges under President Duterte. It's going to be interesting. At times, a lot of countries have very big challenges with human rights commissions. But many, many issues. And another mandate was youth. So youth clubs. Youth happen to be half the population of Asia. So that was great. So if you want, you can do this. And another point I met Angelica is I used to travel going opening and closing and launching UNESCO clubs. So Maritime Academy of Asia Pacific had you have 2,000 cadets, active faculty, leading thinkers, the director, Admiral Santos, and there was support of the staff, including Angelica, established a UNESCO club. So I went for openness and in the name of UNESCO. So we had lots of clubs. Youth UNESCO Club in the United States has a lot of potential. because many young people don't know what UNESCO is. Yeah?
Yes. So when I talked to the Department of State, where the UNESCO Federation is, they told me how it came to your mind, like who told you that we can open a club in the United States? So I told them I was doing this for past decade, so that's why I wanted to establish a club in the United States. And so they were so happy. They told me like, we need more clubs, we need more youth, we need more people to be involved. Although there's a funding issues, well, we want people like you to start advocating on UNESCO and the work UNESCO does, because it's all about education, science, and then connecting people. And obviously culture.
And it's sort of, isn't it surprising that it takes someone on their journey from Nepal, Japan, Thailand, come to Arizona, to Native American land, become an American, write to the State Department, can we open a youth UNESCO club in the United States? And they say, oh, how do you know? Of course they know, but nobody's publicizing this. It's a very, and so it's often this idea that we will, the lady lost. So they may ask, where are these young people? And sometimes some young people have given up on the UN, sadly, maybe for a good reason, sadly. They gave up on their government, probably for good reason as well. And so this is very important to be involved. So we the peoples means you do the change in the world that you would like. Goes back to Mahatma Gandhi, who said, be the change you want in the world. Don't complain. Don't talk about it. Don't complain to your government. Change it. Okay? That's all you need to do.
Somebody had to start at some point. So why don't you be that person?
So this is a belief in yourself. It's really important. So it's love of life. So actually, this balance of love of others, love of yourself, you have to have both, as Dylan mentioned. Self-love, you have to believe, not to give up. So all of you are the peoples of the world. Anyone can start a UNESCO club. Anyone. Amber, maybe you can get your computer ready.
I send my PowerPoint to your computer.
Okay. You have to do that then. So let me change this. Thank you very much, Rimesh.
Thank you very much.
And so